The mahogany panel law office felt too cold for a summer day in Phoenix. I sat in the corner of the conference room, watching my uncle's real family occupy the premium seats near Mr. Davidson, the estate lawyer. My cousin Blake adjusted his Italian silk tie while his mother Diana reapplied her lipstick for the third time. The perfect picture of grieving relatives. I'm Rachel Martinez, and my Uncle Jack was the only person in my life who ever truly believed in me. When my parents died in a car accident 15 years ago, Uncle Jack became my guardian, much to his wife Diana's displeasure. While she treated me like an unwanted houseguest, Uncle Jack saw something in me that others missed. "You have the same fire I had at your age, kiddo," he'd tell me during our Sunday morning walks through his vast real estate properties, always looking beyond what others see. Those walks were our secret ritual. While Diana and Blake slept in their mansion, Uncle Jack would teach me about property values, market trends, and his philosophy about land. "Never judge a piece of land by what's on the surface, Rachel," he'd say, his eyes twinkling. "The real value often lies beneath." I took those lessons to heart, putting myself through college studying geological engineering while working part-time at his company's maintenance department. Diana made sure I stayed in that suitable position despite my degree. "We can't have the help running our development projects," she'd say with a perfectly manicured smile. "The last will and testament of Jackson William Montgomery," Mr. Davidson began, adjusting his reading glasses. I forced myself to breathe steadily as he read through the preliminary details. "To my wife, Diana Montgomery, I leave our primary residence in Paradise Valley and its contents, along with a monthly allowance of $50,000 for the duration of her life." Diana dabbed at dry eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "To my son, Blake Montgomery, I leave Montgomery Real Estate Development Corporation, including all current properties under development, commercial holdings, and liquid assets totaling approximately $89 million. Blake's smirk grew wider. He already had his father's office measure for new furniture. "And to my niece, Rachel Martinez," Mr. Davidson paused, glancing at me over his glasses, "I leave parcel 247, the undeveloped land in Maricopa County, approximately 500 acres. The desert wasteland." Blake burst out laughing. "Oh, that's perfect. Dad's final joke." Diana joined in with a delicate chuckle. "Well, dear, at least you won't have to pay much in property taxes. There's nothing out there but rattlesnakes and cacti." I remembered those 500 acres. Uncle Jack took me there just 3 months ago, before the cancer took him. We stood on a rocky outcrop as the sun rose, painting the desert in shades of gold and purple. "What do you see, Rachel?" he'd asked. "Beautiful rock formations," I answered, my geological training kicking in. "Interesting striations in the cliff face, unusual for this region." He squeezed my shoulder. "Keep looking deeper, kiddo, always deeper." Now, sitting in this cold conference room, I could feel his presence. While Blake and Diana continued their sophisticated snickering, I noticed Mr. Davidson sliding a sealed envelope across the table to me. "Your uncle left this for you as well, Ms. Martinez. Private correspondence." I took the envelope, ignoring Diana's sudden sharp interest. "Well, if we're done here," Blake stood, straightening his suit jacket, "I have a company to run. Rachel, if you need help unloading that worthless dirt, let me know. I'm sure we can work something out." His smile was all teeth and no warmth. I waited until they left before opening the envelope. Inside was a key and a handwritten note in Uncle Jack's familiar scrawl. "Dear Rachel, by now they're probably laughing. Let them. You're the only one who ever joined me on those Sunday walks, the only one who learned to look beneath the surface." The key opens the bottom drawer of my old desk, the one in the maintenance office where you worked. Blake's too proud to clean it out himself. "Remember what I taught you about parcel 247. Keep looking deeper, kiddo. Love, Uncle Jack." "Lisa, I hired Anderson Geological Survey 3 months ago. Their report arrives in 2 weeks. Timing is everything, sweetheart." I clutched the letter, tears finally falling. Even now, Uncle Jack was teaching me one last lesson about looking beneath the surface. Mr. Davidson cleared his throat. "Ms. Martinez, there's something else you should know. The property taxes on parcel 247 are paid up for the next 5 years. Your uncle was quite insistent about that detail." I nodded, my mind already racing. Uncle Jack never did anything without a reason. Those Sunday walks, the maintenance job that kept me close to his old office, my geological engineering degree that everyone mocked. It was all part of a bigger picture. That evening, I drove out to parcel 247, parking my beat-up Honda next to the property marker. The setting sun painted those same purple and gold streaks across the rocky terrain. In 2 weeks, Anderson Geological Survey would reveal what Uncle Jack had suspected, what my trained eye had begun to notice in those rock formations. But tonight, I just sat on that rocky outcrop where we'd stood 3 months ago, smiling up at the stars starting to emerge. Looking deeper, Uncle Jack, I whispered. Just like you taught me. The real game was just beginning, and I had 2 weeks to prepare for the moment when everyone would discover exactly how worthless my inheritance really was. The maintenance office smelled of lemon cleaner and old coffee, exactly as it had during my 5 years working here. At 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, 2 weeks after the will reading, I finally had the privacy to use Uncle Jack's key. The bottom drawer of his old desk hadn't been opened in years. Blake had ordered everything important moved to the executive offices long ago. The key turned with a satisfying click. Inside, beneath a layer of dust, lay a leather portfolio and a USB drive labeled Plan B, classic Uncle Jack, always preparing for contingencies. But it was the folder beneath them that made my heart race. Anderson Geological Survey. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd memorized years ago. Dr. Anderson, Rachel Martinez. Yes, Uncle Jack's niece. Would you have time to meet today? There's something we need to discuss. 4 hours later, I sat in Dr. Anderson's office, surrounded by core samples and geological maps. The veteran geologist's eyes sparkled with excitement as he spread out the survey results. Your uncle was right, Rachel. Those unusual formations you noticed, they're indicators of a massive helium deposit, one of the largest natural reserves we found in North America. I stared at the data, my engineering background helping me grasp the full implications. While everyone thought of helium as party balloon material, it was actually a critical component in manufacturing electronics, MRI machines, and rocket fuel, and it was becoming increasingly rare. Current market value? I asked, though Uncle Jack's portfolio had already given me a rough idea. Conservative estimate? Around $400 million. But with the current shortage and rising demand, Dr. Anderson shrugged. Could go much higher. My phone buzzed. Blake's number. I ignored it, focusing instead on the next document in Uncle Jack's portfolio. Incorporation papers for Martinez Energy Solutions, LLC, dated 3 months ago. My name was listed as sole owner. One more thing, Dr. Anderson added, pulling out a final report. The land's positioning and underground water tables make it ideal for a solar energy installation. Your uncle had us run those surveys too. Of course he did. Even from beyond the grave, Uncle Jack was teaching me to see the bigger picture. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Blake. Need to discuss your property. Lunch? The Capitol Grill, 1 p.m. Don't be late. Perfect timing. I arrived at the Capitol Grill at 1:05 p.m., deliberately keeping Blake waiting. He sat at his usual power table, Diana beside him, both looking like cats who'd cornered a mouse. Rachel, darling, Diana purred. So good of you to join us. I slid into the booth, noting the contract already placed at my setting. Blake didn't waste time. We'll make this simple, he said, tapping the contract. Montgomery Real Estate is prepared to take that worthless desert off your hands. Say $50,000? More than generous, considering the property taxes you'll face. I took a sip of water, enjoying the moment. Actually, Blake, I have some interesting readings to share with you. I pulled out my tablet, displaying the geological survey results. See these formations? They indicate. Spare me the science lesson, Blake put in. Do you want to sell or not? These formations, I continued calmly, indicate one of the largest helium deposits in North America. Current market value around $400 million, conservatively speaking. The color drained from Blake's face. Diana's fork clattered against her plate. You're lying, Blake sputtered. Anderson Geological Survey completed their analysis 2 weeks ago. The same day as the will reading, actually. Interesting timing, don't you think? Diana's perfectly maintained composure cracked. Jack knew. He knew and he still, Left it to me, I smiled. The maintenance worker with the geological engineering degree, the one who actually walked the property with him, studying the formations, while you were brunching at the country club. Blake's expression turned ugly. Listen here, you little. No, he listened. I cut him off, my voice steel-edged. Martinez Energy Solutions already has permits pending for both helium extraction and a solar installation. We've had preliminary meetings with 3 major tech companies interested in securing their helium supply. Would you like to see those contracts? I pulled out my own stack of papers. Or maybe you prefer to see the incorporation documents showing I own all rights to the company. Uncle Jack set it up 3 months ago. I'll fight this, Blake threatened. Dad wasn't in his right mind. Mr. Davidson has video documentation of Uncle Jack explaining his decisions, I interrupted. He was quite lucid, and quite aware of how you both treated me all these years. A waiter approached. I stood before he could reach us. I won't be staying for lunch, but I do have a business proposition for you, Blake. I place a final document on the table. Montgomery Real Estate could have exclusive rights to develop the residential and commercial properties around my energy installation. The land value will skyrocket once development begins. You'd be looking at potentially billions in development opportunities. Blake's hand trembled as he reached for the paper. That offer expires in 24 hours, I added. After that, I'll be meeting with your competitors. Oh, and Blake, the development rights are contingent on promoting Jennifer Torres to VP of Operations. She's been running your commercial division for years while you took the credit. I turned to Diana. The monthly allowance Uncle Jack left you, it's now tied to your continued support of the children's hospital he founded. The one you wanted to sell for condos. Mr. Davidson has those papers ready too. I walked out of the restaurant into the bright Arizona sun, feeling lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Anderson. First round of tech company meetings confirmed for tomorrow. They're very excited. Standing by my old Honda, which I decided I'd keep, just as a reminder, I looked toward the mountains where my 500 acres lay. Uncle Jack's voice echoed in my memory. The real value often lies beneath the surface. He wasn't just talking about the land. Over the next year, Martinez Energy Solutions became a leader in sustainable resource development. The helium extraction operation provided critical supplies to the medical and tech industries, while the solar installation powered thousands of homes. Blake, properly motivated by profit, proved to be an effective development partner, though our conversations remained strictly business. Diana found a surprising passion for hospital administration, especially after the media praised her philanthropic work. Amazing what proper incentives can do. As for me, I still drive out to parcel 247 every Sunday morning, just as Uncle Jack and I used to do. I stand on that rocky outcrop and watch the sun paint the desert in purple and gold. Sometimes I swear I can feel him standing beside me, smiling at how his last lesson played out. Looking deeper, Uncle Jack, I whisper to the dawn. Always looking deeper. The maintenance office. I kept it, converting the building into a training center for geological engineering students. Every quarter, I give a lecture there, sharing Uncle Jack's most valuable lesson. Success, like the true value of any property, isn't always visible on the surface. But if you know where to look and you're patient enough to wait for the right moment, you can find riches that others never thought to seek. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about proving that someone's faith in you was justified all along.